This episode of Real Estate Real World is brought to you by LionDesk CRM. Discover why so many people have already made the brilliant decision to switch to LionDesk. With over 100 integrations and video, email, and texting, LionDesk isn't just a CRM. It's everything you'll ever need in a great follow-up system. Learn why thousands of real estate professionals have already made the switch by visiting them today at liondesk.com. Use the code REALWORLD and get 50% off your first 2 months. No credit card is even needed to get started today.
Welcome to Real Estate Real World, where we talk to the movers, shakers, and leaders that are getting it done right now in the real estate industry and beyond. Your host is Marguerite Crespillo, and she started this podcast simply to talk to cool people about what's really happening in this crazy roller coaster ride of real estate. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and stay up to date on the newest stuff by adding yourself to the list at www.realestaterealworld.com. Now your host, Marguerite Crespillo.
Welcome everybody, it's Marguerite Crespillo, and thank you for joining us today on the Real Estate Real World, where we get to talk to all the amazing movers and shakers in the real estate industry. And today we have an exceptional one who is joining us on the show today, Rosalind Booker. Very, very nice to meet you. So let me read a quick bio about you. Rosalind Booker is, she goes by Roz, nickname, broker owner of R. Brook Realty Group, LLC, a full-service real estate company in Dallas-Fort Worth. She is a trusted advocate in the community and remains true to her heart-inspired convictions to empower others. I love that. In 1996, Roz began her real estate career after leaving her corporate career to pursue a higher education and to enrich her family's lifestyle. Roz has been named a top producer in real estate. And in 2005, Roz earned her BSBMGT. What does that stand for? What does that all stand for?
I'm sorry, repeat that again.
What does BS/BMGT stand for?
You know, I turned my volume down so much. Repeat that again.
It says in 2005 you earned your BSBMGT. What does that stand for?
Goodness. I'm sorry. That's my Bachelor's of Science in Business Management.
Business Management. There we go. I was trying
There you go. All those acronyms for those degrees, right?
I know. Kind of crazy. Since 1990s, in her former position as minority and women-owned supplier development coordinator at a Fortune 500 company, and as elite board member and certified delegate spokeswoman of the National Association of Women in Real Estate Businesses, NAWRB, Roz has been an advocate of connecting the wealth opportunities for diverse classes and businesses to work together. As a leader in the housing ecosystem, Roz will receive NAWRB's Roaring 30s Innovator Leading Lady Award, woohoo, at the Nexus 2017 conference in July of 2017, which recognizes women innovating the way of conducting business and forging their own path as an entrepreneur. Roz is a member of the Allen Fairview Chamber of Commerce and ambassador of the 5-star Plano Chamber of Commerce, and she is women's ministry leader and a worship leader at River of Glory Church in Plano, Texas. She loves to sing, have fun, travel, and enjoy tasty food. I'm with you. So it sounds like you might have some people in your office back there talking.
Oh, they've left.
Okay, good. So thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much, Marguerite. Glad to be here.
It's such a pleasure. So, you know, it says you got into real estate back in 96. What prompted you to go into the real estate industry?
You know, I'm glad you asked that question. And when I talk to my clients and other constituents, I tell them, I said, you know what, real estate was not my dream job. And they're like, okay, right? I'm like, yes, right, that is true. I never dreamed that real estate I would be so passionate about it. What actually happened was, you know, before 1996, we had met some people at our church, and they were a mom and pop. They were in the mortgage and real estate industry, and a transition, as you read in my bio, was about to take place. I had met a wonderful husband. I had two small children. They were girls, and life was making a great turn for me. So with all of the transition, I had thought about already going to get my real estate license. And when I met with the two people in our church, I said, you know what, you need to come sit down, and we want to teach you how and show you how to make some money. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go.
Right.
These vultures, here come the salespeople. I'm like, I hate sales. I don't want to be sold a red shirt and they're trying to convince me it's blue. So I didn't really, have a love for it. But you know what? I sat down with them anyway. And by the time we were done, I was convinced that I wanted to try something new in the industry. Plus the fact, I had reached such, I guess you could say, a ceiling where I was in corporate America. And I had been blessed to, at that time, rise the corporate ladder without a formal education. I got that later, but it was just time for a change. And there I went off the ledge into real estate.
I love what you said kind of about there not being any glass ceiling, because what I love the most about real estate, especially for women, right, is that we don't have any glass ceiling. We can be as successful as we want to be. And honestly, for many, the real estate industry as a whole has 65% of the agents across the country are women, right?
Wow.
And women who are in very similar situations to you and to myself, where we had young kids at home, and we're trying to figure out what kind of a job we could do that would have some flexibility for us raising kids. And that's
Absolutely.
what I love about real estate.
Absolutely. And that was one of the reasons I did want flexibility, and if I was going to work 12, 14 hours a day, I wanted that earning potential to be there, to create some more opportunities, for my family. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And so how long have you had your own brokerage?
That's a great question. This past October 2016, I started my own brokerage, my own real estate brokerage after exciting. 20 years.
And what made you decide to make that leap?
You know what? As a child, I knew that it was planted in my heart that I wanted to be a multiple business owner. I just didn't know real estate was going to be a part of that. And so, that's where the aspiration came, real estate just being a tool to help people birth their dreams and build legacies. And that's actually my motto, is to birth dreams and build legacies. And what I had found out is that, over 20 years, I've served hundreds of clients, helping them birth their own dreams in terms of the American dream, home ownership, that is. But one thing, Marguerite, I realized is that I had in so many areas of my life, whether it be, in the community, whether it be nonprofit, whether it be just working for someone else, that I had not birthed my own dream. So I'm like, I think what I've done by pouring into everything and everyone else, it's time for me to do that for myself. Because at the end of the day, if something were really to happen to me, I really want to leave my family a legacy.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because many of us, especially women and women of our approximate age, go through the same thing. We've spent, so much of our lives doing everything for everybody else. Yes. That we kind of get pushed, to the back of the train, right? So we're clear. Everyone else is getting all their life taken care of.
I mean, by nature, that's who we are. We're nurturers. It's like, okay, let me nurse you to fruition, and let me see your dreams through. And, we get gratification out of that. And I still do. But when you get to that season where it's just time to do it.
Well, I know my youngest son, we just celebrated his 21st birthday this weekend, and he's
oh, congrats.
And so I'm like, okay, you're officially on your own, right? Like, now it's mom time, for me to go figure out what I'm going to do.
Let me tell you something. They come back. Well.
I know. One of our older sons is 32. He's at home at the moment. And I have to say I enjoy him being at home, but at least now I'm not having to watch the clock, and I don't have to buy food for them. I'm like, if you don't like what we eat, guess what?
Hey,
you have your own job. Feel free to go.
there you
Cook
go.
dinner, do
I
whatever you
get
want
it.
to do. But
I get
I don't
it.
have to keep track of them right at this age. So that's the cool part. So,
Yeah.
in starting your own brokerage, what is really your dream for your brokerage?
You know, the consensus says that I'm crazy because, why would you want, to leave another brokerage? You're doing so well, and, just take a leap and do that for yourself. Don't recreate what you don't have to. But the the perks for me and our difference is that I truly believe what I have done for the past 4 years, basically on a virtual basis, that's the way of the world. The way we work has changed, Marguerite.
Dramatically.
If I really were to be honest, over the past 4 years, the number of people that I've actually brought to the office to do a deal, it's probably I can count on one hand. So what that told me was, the old traditional bricks and mortar of, where's your huge establishment, your plush office before I ever talk to you, or, validate that your business, your skills and your business is valid until I see your office. That's no more. That's no more today. So, I looked at that, and because I am a person, I'm not a perfectionist, but I do like to do things in an excellent way. I like to do things different. Maybe the message is the same, but to do it differently, that's what wakes me up in the morning is, how can I say it different? How can I do it different? But how can I have a one-on-one optimal personal relationship with my client, but still be efficient? So my VOT, virtual office team concept, is our difference. I really want to teach women and men, millennials, that, hey, if you're tech savvy, and if you got a heart for people, not just counting the transaction, but you got a heart to really see people's dreams come to fruition, you need to talk to me, because I have a way that you can build your business and our business and thrive.
That's incredible. I look forward to seeing what your model is all about. There are definitely a lot of real estate models that are changing the way things are,
Yes.
right? More
Yes.
cloud-based, virtual, a lot of different things. And
Yes.
I know that in my 23 years, it's changed so dramatically. Like, I think back to the days when I started in real estate. I'm going to date myself a bit. But when I started back in the day, our contracts were only 4 pages long. They were on NCR paper where you had to have 4 copies. So you had to write really hard with the pen, right, to get through. We used to have original signatures. And I laugh at original signatures because everybody had to have the actual original, like blue ink signatures back in the day. And now
Yeah.
nobody takes them. They're DocuSign. Except, you know what the craziness is recently? Our Department of Real Estate here in the state of California requires original signatures, blue ink, on your applications and on your continuing education. I'm like, you're the only agency, the only
You're the,
entity. Our government doesn't even. Government
they're the
HUD
only
will take digital signatures now. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was so floored. I'm like, what on earth? But our industry is changing now. Literally within seconds, you can write a contract even on your iPhone, send it for digital signatures, and have it back in 5 minutes or less. It's crazy.
Hey, that's the way of the world. You're right. You're right.
It is completely crazy. So tell me a little bit about, how did you get involved with NAWRB? How did you learn about them, and how did you get involved in that organization?
That's another crazy story. Now, call it elementary, but I'm a dreamer, and I'm a person that articulates about everything that I think, whether it's writing in journals, whether it's posting pictures on vision boards, I still do it. So I really believe that when we do that in our subconscious, we gravitate to the things that we need to do to accomplish those goals.
Absolutely.
And I had just been praying, and I'm like, okay, now I know I'm at a crossroads here, and there's more out there, there's greater. And I put some things on my vision board about just meeting the right people joining the right organizations, that it was time for me to step up my game and just, walk in those circles where we are moving and shaking. Got an email this last summer, early summer, from Desiree Patno. It just kept coming through, and it was about a conference, and I opened up one email, and I'm like, okay. I was looking at the pretty pink, that's me. I was looking at the pretty pink. I'm like, that's a cute little email. Then I got another one, so I read into it a little bit more. I'm like, oh, this is a women's association. Then I got another one, and I said, let me pick up the phone and let me call about this conference. Because at that time, even though I knew I was going to be going for my own, I didn't think I was quite prepared financially and just having all the pieces to the puzzle. But sometimes, Marguerite, that's the best time to make a move, is when we don't have it all figured out.
Right. Exactly.
So I picked up the phone, just bugged Desiree to death. I bet she's like, who is this girl from Texas that keeps calling me? Lord, if you're coming, you come on. If you're not, don't come. She didn't say that, but probably at least a half a dozen calls. Anyway, got enough information from her to feel a little bit comfortable. I was still scared, knees still shaking. I'm like, goodness, all the way to California, but this sounded so wonderful. Collaboration, government agencies, the possibility of being on a board, to add value to my service and, just walk in that person that I was becoming. And took the leap. There I go, off the cliff again. I'm like, I'm going to Cali. Told my husband. Yeah, he's like, honey, you're going to the beach right now. I'm like, no, not without you. So I did. I got on that plane and I went to NAWRB. And when I walked in the first session, the first 30 minutes paid for the whole conference. And what I mean by that, the amount of knowledge that I received, I'm like, when you walk into a place and you just know that you're there, that's how it resonated inside. And I couldn't take enough notes. I brought back a whole bag full of folders and flyers and information given by all of the constituents there. It was really, really overwhelming, but it was the piece to the puzzle that I needed. And actually, after I came back from NAWRB, that was the event in my life that got me off the fence. And I'm like, I got to do this. So I did. I came back and I started my brokerage.
Wow. So that was the biggest thing that you got from that.
Yes. Yeah. And it was an investment, Marguerite. I mean, the airfare, the hotel, and the conference, when you added it all up, it wasn't cheap, especially for my first big event, and venture. But it was so well worth it.
Have you been, prior to that, had you been to other conferences and events, or was this the very first time you'd gone to an event like that?
At that magnitude, that's the first event. I've definitely been to other events here in the DFW area. There's always an opportunity for classes, MCE, but to jump from, basically not having a recognizable, so to speak, membership with an agency to now being a board member, not just any old board member, but elite board member, certified delegate, spokeswoman. I mean, I went all out.
So tell us what those types of being that elite board member and certified delegate, what does that mean for you and your business? How does that help you in your business?
I'm glad you asked that question. What NAWRB did for me is create basically a platform for me to converge like passions, empowerment for women. I love to inspire women. We said before in my bio, I had held a position in the Minority and Women-Owned Supplier Development Department as a coordinator with a Fortune 500 company. So I had a passion to see people come together to do business, where companies have D&I initiatives and there are vendors and suppliers out there looking for those opportunities. So that seed was there. So, and then there's real estate. So with the real estate, the eco-housing system, my passion for D&I, and then my passion just to uplift and encourage and inspire women, bam, all in one organization. I get to finally do me at a magnitude where there's no holes, there's no bars, there's nothing, there's no limit. So I knew immediately, I started at the basic level, the engaged membership level, and within 30 days I had already increased that to an elite status, because at an elite status is where you get to join those boards to have a voice. So it's created a platform for me to have a voice, because NAWRB's reputation is so well known in the sector, in the vein in which I'm going, and that's government contracting, procurement opportunities. It was just really a win-win. Now, what was amazing is that to have an organization like you, Marguerite, to be so selfless. I mean, we have the same accreditation. We're in business, but you're paying it forward. You invited me to your platform. You would think that everywhere, in every organization, in every field, that you have this type of support. And I'm going to be very honest with you, that doesn't exist everywhere. So what we have here at NAWRB is very special. We're paying it forward. We're helping each other up, a leg up. We're pouring into each other. And, we're all saying the same message. Just by this action here today is, honey, we'll see you at the top, because that's where we belong.
Right,
so.
Right. Well, and so sometimes too, I feel like in a lot of ways we've come so far as women, but it also still feels like we have so far to go. I mean, I was raised by a single mom who, I think back to what she had to go through in raising kids, and, all that she had to, all the obstacles she had in her way. And luckily, many of those have been, moved throughout the years. But we still have a long ways to go to really have more, a bigger footprint, a bigger seat at the table. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, I do agree. And, one of the reasons I did leave corporate America, of course, it was for greater opportunities. But the thing that kind of pushed me over the edge, if I'm very honest, is, one day I had a really important meeting that I had to miss. My babies were sick. One of them had 104 fever. I just could not make it. And the turmoil that I felt inside, do I leave my sick kid with somebody, or do I go to the important line review? Well, I chose family, and I kind of got chewed out about that the day I went back. And the message was, when we have important meetings, you really need to find other means for your sick kids. And that negative encouragement is really what pushed me off the lift. Yeah. So I think sometimes in life, what I'm saying is, just because we experience a negative connotation, maybe that's our time to bridge into other new opportunities. But you're right; those roadblocks still exist.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Innovator Leading Lady Award. Tell us about that award. What is it? And congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's quite an honor. I'm super impressed. But tell us what that means. What is that award, and what does it mean to you?
Well, NAWRB has a Roaring 30 award, and it's several categories. And it's, for women who are trailblazing throughout the industry. They can be a CEO, it could be an entrepreneur, it could be a mom that's done great things in the community. Maybe she's unemployed, but she's a catalyst in the community. So the Innovator Award, as I know it, is a female professional, entrepreneur that's kind of paved her way as an entrepreneur to start a business. And I'd ask, I'm like, who nominated me for that? Can you tell me who nominated me? And they just said, just know that, at least 3 people would have had to nominate you. I'm like, wow, what an honor. Yes. Well, to me, I'm instantly thinking innovator as in, okay, I mentioned before, I just like to do things a different way. What we know about technology today is the minute something comes out, in a week, it's old. There's always something new. So I'm not even going to pretend that I'm keeping up with that stuff, nor do I want to. But I'm going to tell you something. As we evolve, and as our customers tell us how they want to be communicated with, it behooves us to try to meet them where they are. So, one of the things that I like to do is build and foster those relationships. I really just get a kick out of that. And I think after 20 years, you see the second and third and fourth homes from one client. They just stuck it out with you through the years. It's that connection. And Marguerite, I think you've talked about that and some of the ways that you engage with your clients to, keep them in relationship with you. But, I have just become a really, really social media fan of staying connected with my clients. So, one segment I do a Mind Shift Monday. This really has nothing to do with real estate. It's just, again, me empowering people, but I use my real estate platforms to talk about it. A minute or 2 videos. We're just going to, dispel the myths and pluck up those weeds in the mind that keeps us from achieving our dreams. And then like a walkthrough Wednesday. Well, people can't always get out and they're not going to beat my door and say, hey, I want to do business with you. Well, we're bringing walkthrough Wednesday. That's a tour of neighborhoods, builders, venues, maybe even events to their fingertips.
Wow.
And then free for all Friday. We're just going to chat it up. I'm going to answer your real estate questions right there on my personal page online. Why? Because, again, you're not going to just call me. I'm going to find you. I'm going to bring the platform to you. I'm going to open my whole life to you. And I know you didn't ask me this question, but one thing that I know that my clients, they say loud and clear without even telling me, is they need us to be relevant, authentic, and efficient.
Absolutely.
And being an innovator, trying to think of ways to communicate the message and do life. That's what I want to say. Do life with my clients. It's just not a one-hit wonder. They're not just a transaction. And people know when you generally care about them. You care about their situations. I'd say this last 3 weeks, a couple of deals that I've closed, it's really required kids' gloves. We could have all the skills in the world, but when people are crying on the inside and when, families are breaking up and then there are kids involved and there's just hard situations, it really takes a person who has a heart for that. So,
and I think it's really a misnomer that many times the public believes is that, all we do is put a sign in the yard. And there's so much more that goes into, I know in my career, it's been crazy. I think I'm a marriage counselor and
psychologist, babysitter.
Exactly. Like there's so many things that, we do in the course of a day or the course of a transaction that it's far from just putting, a sign in the yard. But
absolutely.
I know that for me, that's kind of the addictive side of this business, right? It's what keeps us constantly engaged and constantly coming up with new ways of doing things and a number of other things. So, as we wrap up today, I kind of wanted to ask you one more question. Is that what do you see in your future? What are your goals for your brokerage? What are your goals for your role with NAWRB?
That's a good question. Well, I would like to be known as obviously the thought leader in this industry. I'd like to always be considered the innovator, not so much as an innovator that I'm detached from my clients, but because I'm in the know of, again, how to treat my clients and how to communicate with them and how to provide that optimal service online and offline. I want to be known for that. I would love to set up multiple virtual office teams throughout the Metroplex and then expand into Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, those surrounding states. That's the plan. Now, my relationship with NAWRB has poised our company to be positioned to go after those government contracts, that Texas TxDOT's looking for, the CMBL. I mean, there's so many acronyms.
I know, it's crazy.
Don't get me to talking about all this, but we're going after several certifications. We were just hub certified through the state of Texas, and we're very, very excited about that. And we'll be going after contracting opportunities. We're going after the 8A through the SBA as well as the WBE. So that is just going to open up a plethora of opportunities. As you know, Texas is a leader in job creation here. We expect to be in the door handling some of that relocation business. So we're going to be booming very, very soon out of the, busting out of the seams, and we're going to need some help. So.
Well, you know what? I have to say that anything that you set your mind to, I'm sure you're going to 10 times that even, because
Awesome.
You are quite an amazing woman with all that you do on a daily basis and all that you're accomplishing. And I feel very honored to get to chat with you today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. You're amazing, and you're blowing up. You're in your area, in your industry too, and hats off to you, Marguerite.
Well, thank you. And so thank you so much. If you guys want more information on NAWRB, be sure to go to nawrb.com and you can research it there, as well as we'll have links to Roz and to NAWRB in our show notes today. So thank you everybody for joining us today on Real World, and especially thank you to Rosalind Booker for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be here with us today. And thank you again for listening. You can also go to iTunes and download us on iTunes as a podcast, and check us out on YouTube, and check us out at realestaterealworld.com. If you loved our show, write us a great review. It helps us move up in the rankings. And go out there and be extraordinarily successful in your own version of success. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today on Real Estate Real World, where we talk with masters and leaders in real estate and beyond on how we can raise the bar in our industry. Please subscribe over on iTunes. And while you're there, be sure to give us a review. Your reviews encourage us and help others find our podcast. For show notes and hot topics on what's going on right now in our real estate industry, hop on over to www.realestaterealworld.com and add your name to our email. Thanks again for listening. And go out there, be a part of the elite masterclass in raising the bar on the real estate industry.